Welcome everyone, we are on to the rift for game one between QUB and TUD, our third place matchup. We do have a bit of a spicy invade to start this one off, and an interesting comp coming out. Wiggler going for the Akshan. I don't think we've seen a single Akshan so far in the tournament.
Yes, it's an interesting pick. We have seen a lot of mage players in the mid lane, and it would do, of course, quite well into it. And a lot of the jungle and top lane picks in the meta at the moment are orientating towards that more ability power, and that's always the limiting factor in having an AD mid is the damage profile for your top side. It's an interesting pickup. We'll see if he can try and get ahead early, because that really is the aim of the Akshan, to try and abuse his position with the passive, the PTA, the Ignite, get early kills, get early pressure, and try to turn them either onto Razor or the bot side of TUD as we look to see some action Playdex.
Yeah, nothing's really going to happen there. Just a little bit of poke. They knew they were there, so they had full information. But it looks like Razor will be starting on those Raptors and taking away a camp right under the nose of Spee on this J4.
Yes, I mean, he does have the leash. Oh, he flash smites it. He actually takes it away from Spee. That was very risky. Spee was always going to get the clear faster than on the red buff because of the leash he had. But that's a very disheartening moment for Spee, who did use the smite himself. I'm not sure if he used it earlier, if it was a smite fight. I think he used it a little earlier than Razor, not realizing that they had stuck around to take the Raptors. So 2 camps actually taken away, since Razor didn't actually drop aggro on the Raptors. End up going to be maybe 3 camping. But remember, this Kayle is going to be weak in the top side, so we'll see if QUB look to answer towards the red buff of Razor.
Yeah, and we're having a quick look here at the top side, and the Mordekaiser into Kayle. Kayle, another interesting pick that we don't see too often, but Madamar is definitely one of the players I think that could realistically, if we play this 1-2, its fullest potential, and especially in that late game, Razor with a Kayle being able to go in onto very, very key targets could really open it up for them. So far, TUD, I'm liking the Kayle. But we do see a good trade in the mid lane, and Talia, Crims taking the advantage there.
Yeah, the Kayle, of course, gonna be able to scale up. There will be some interesting interactions. She does take time to ramp up. She can, of course, be susceptible to the I say ganks, but I mean the surprise deletions from like the J4, who could build fairly aggressive, the Twitch, as the hook does land.
Yeah, and Varus able to get those stacks off, and he will charge up, but he won't have any of those blight available for him, and he won't get that kill. Akshan going all in, lovely little combo there, but doesn't quite. He does get the first blow with the last tick of that ignite, very close. Madamar's nearly saving the life of Crims, but a good trade for the Akshan, and yeah, he's taking control in this mid lane.
That's the way you want it if you pick this Akshan, as we did say earlier. He does actually pick up the pickaxe. Meanwhile, Tear from Crims. Wiggler is going to have a huge item advantage in this mid lane. It doesn't seem like much since it's just the kill versus the assist, and Crims actually has the CS advantage thanks to the TP. But when it comes to fighting, that's going to be really problematic, and Crims is going to be very wary of using the seismic shove to ever poke down Wiggler, since as soon as that CC is on cooldown, Wiggler can just be in so much trouble. I'm assuming that the hookshot does proc the stun from the Talia, but that's a interesting interaction I'd have to see to make sure, just because I'm not sure if it's unstoppable. I'm not too sure on the details of that, but we'll see if Wiggler can push this advantage. Now, I think the person who really needs to be wary of this is, I think, Mada in particular. You do not want an Akshan and a Jarvan barreling down on your lane before you can even get 6. And remember, at Divine Judgment, that ultimate ability is a very long cooldown at level 1. When the Madamars hit 6, that can be burned on cooldown as the flash in from Raven.
Yeah, and the timing was just perfect there for Jarvan, and Kelko will pick up Raven You see Lulu and Jarvan continuing to chase that one down, but Platix does have the flash, does have the ability to escape that if they do so choose to chase. But another kill going over to QUB.
Good early pickup, and as you said, timing was just perfect. As
Never mind, Platix does manage to pick that one up. Just absolutely perfect snipe as Mordekaiser getting that pull back and eliminates that Razor from able to finish that one off. So yeah, an interesting trade back there from Platix.
Just unnecessary, just greed by Kelko. It's what you see most of the time. I think you're seeing the CS discrepancy in the bot side. Kelko's just maybe felt a bit pressured to get that push in, but B should have been the one to help Saber Ethan get that in, get that crash, and get everything barreling down. But it does mean Platix is able to pick up a kill, and such a massive CS deficit now for TUD as Spee making his way caught.
Yeah, Spee does have the angle here, and it will just stay on to the Thresh. Evelyn also in the area, but actually the first one to roam from that mid lane. The wall is available and should be used here by Crims, but not being used yet, and 2 free kills handed over. Divine Judgment goes through, won't get them into death range, but will get them close. The hook from Thresh probably wasn't what he was aiming for, but still managed to land it. The ignite now from the Akshan. Wiggler picks up another kill, and that Akshan is activated.
Yeah, he's completely online now. We thought he had an item advantage before. Just picked up another, what, 600-700 gold, 2 kills and an assist, let alone the CS advantage he's gained. That's exactly what we were fearful of. Jarvan, Akshan just running it down, and Platix, he just really got poked out by Kelko, but it was just the duo just running it down, and we're looking for another fight.
Yeah, Razor getting caught there by the flag and drag does get eliminated. Twitch going aggressive, does manage to get that second kill as well. Just those Berserker Greaves is enough to secure that one. Matamars is hovering, might be able to get something, but will just have to back off that. No TP available, was used to try get there in time, and it just wasn't there.
Yeah, again, it was an item advantage. Platix hadn't backed from the original fight, so as you pointed out, the Berserker's Greaves was all Kelko had over him, but just a D-Blade in Platix's back pocket meant the original fight could not go in the favor of TUD. And a Razor, of course, on that Evelyn, not going to be the greatest of threats early. We see the Kraken Slayer. We see a 7-minute, 50-second Kraken Slayer picked up by Wiggler. That might be one of the earliest mythics I've ever seen. This is going to be terrifying. He is going to melt anyone he even breathes on. Now, we had the back-to-back fights again. TUD, I'm not really sure what the engage was about, but this is going to be very scary. Now, Wiggler is just going to have complete roam over this map, and if Spee is there to back him up, it could just result in a crazy snowball happening, as we're already seeing the objectives go in the favor of QUB. Picked up first Drake, now Herald, Wiggler up there to even get the stacks, and Kelko just not suffering from it as Wiggler takes the Raptor.
Yeah, and Wiggler is just all over this, but he won't be able to get that around the tower, and it is a flash forward and a big fail there coming from Wiggler on that Akshan. A bit over aggressive, some might say.
It's extremely so. Just no world where he's going to get that ultimate through the tower. Razor, even without the flash, he will be able to block that. It would, especially with the sword treads, as oh no, we see the two-man gank now mid.
Yeah, the Lulu coming through with all that damage. Just got a lot of Lulu roaming from the top side into mid, but yeah, Crims also overstaying and overplaying there a little bit in the mid lane.
He thought because Wiggler was down that he just had the opportunity to get the shove in. In all honesty, I think it's crazy Saber Ethan was still around. The Herald had long been taken. Wiggler had been taken down as well. It's kind of a crazy world for Saber Ethan to stick around there, but he does manage to actually pick up the assist, and I guess he was just banking on the fact that his Kelko on that Twitch was not in any form of trouble. Hasn't been pressured yet, despite what, almost 2 minutes there of his support not being in lane. We see now, I don't think he'll be able to repeat that, as Razor is now hanging around the bot lane. It could be disaster. Spee is here once again.
Yeah, we do see everything in this bot side. Razor choosing when to go in and does try to get onto the switch. Thresh will fall to those ticks in the end. We do see Evelyn also getting that ult across, but not picking up anyone. No executes even close. And yeah, it just seems like QUB, they have a better game plan. But Kelko just seems to love taking arrows to the face.
Again, Playtix with the snipe. At that time, I didn't expect Kelko to be taken down, as the TP actually coming out from Crims. I'm not sure why that came out. I don't think there's a world where a dive happens, even 3v2. QUB were taken very low. But a 1-for-1 trade and the Herald drop as Wiggler, I don't think he wants to find this.
Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but he does pick up one immediately. Is pulled out of the drag back, but that flay will knock him into that unraveled earth and will be another kill. But I'd still say advantage is heavily in favor of QUB, regardless of those misplays.
Yes, it's consolation prizes right now for TUD. They're still very much behind in the current state of the game. I think the big difference, of course, being Playtix. Despite 4 kills for Kelko, Playtix with a massive CS advantage, nearly 40 CS. No, more than, sorry, I can't do math. It's 48 in Playtix's favor. Kelko gonna lower that a little bit. But again, Nativz as well, trying to just farm away on the top side. And this is what we did talk about a little bit last week in the TUD derby, where Ohio Apes, their focus is towards this jungle and top. And last week it was a similar story. They left Nativz on an island, but unfortunately the rest of the game kind of fell apart. It was on Razor to keep them in game 2 in particular, where they managed to extend the game just a little bit, and it all fell apart towards that late game 24-25 minute mark. But in this case, Nativz got the kill early, managed to keep a CS advantage, and something we didn't even notice. Oh, Kelko does go wide.
Yeah, very aggressive there, and is going to continue looking for it. The ghost was burned, so it probably wants to get some use out of that, but the Drake is now free and open for them. They do have Pladix in the area with that chain of corruption. They do have options here, but with just the relative strength of that bot lane alongside that Jarvan, I don't think it's worth going for.
I think you're happy if you're TUD there. You know you have to give up that second Drake because of the strength of QUB at the moment. You make them dedicate 4 members to it, which means there's no more extra action across the map. Speaking of which, speed.
Yeah, big engage coming through there. Chain of Corruption does land, and Razor's here in the area with that Gore Drinker proc, the Wild Growth as well. It does go for a 1-for-1, but a big shutdown going over to Pladix again on this on-hit Varus. Some more gold onto that build.
Yep, perfect. That's exactly what you want from TUD. You're trading the 1-for-1. Yes, summoners were kind of burned, namely Pladix Flash on Pladix due to the J4 Cataclysm, but still get that shutdown. Yeah, I think you'll be happy, especially considering the Drake is maybe the next Drake, but TUD kind of saved here. It's actually Air Soul, so they don't really have a huge reason to fight, especially the next one. You can fight for soul if you're really concerned, but you don't need to fight the soul point. I think you're happy in TUD to be scaling up, especially considering Playtix with so much gold now in his back pocket. And again, Nativz going to be scaling up towards that top side. We'll see how the game does progress. As looking forward, we will start to look towards this mid game if any action does happen. But I think with how much action happened early, it's going to be a similar story of QUB just trying to get Wiggler and Spee on the map, and we've seen a lot out of Spee right now. 218 on this Jarvan, 10 out of 11 KPA, as Crim's going to be cut out now by Wiggler.
Yeah, look at this action, just absolutely burning through the health bar of Crims, and another just free kill. Crims stepping up a little bit too far. Akshan will be invisible, will be all over you. Evelyn is in the spot side though, and getting that charm onto Lulu will lock them up. The Chains of Corruption to confirm it, and the kill was left for a second, and Razor ends up picking it up. But here comes Spee on the side, ready to flag and drag, but the TP coming through from Nativz will help cover. But they're actually going to go for this one. Thresh does manage to survive. The charm going to come through. Jarvan has to be careful here. The Gore Drink will make the difference. The kills will save Evelyn, but it is still in the favor of TUD right now, and they have to maybe give up this tower.
Good counter gank again. Dedicated TP by TUD, but it looks like the redive is coming in.
Yeah, and it does go through, and that execute from the Evelyn picks up one. Twitch doing their very best, but not enough in the tank, and they will lose 2 members in that bot side. Yeah, just a great little dive coming out from TUD.
kind of messy now from QUB. They're playing the same as if they were still so far ahead, but as you pointed out, Playtix getting a lot of gold, had the shield bow for that whole fight. The Bork now bought by Kelko, but I don't believe was finished. As we do actually see, I think that's first tower. No, sorry, first tower was actually taken by Wiggler in the mid lane. So second tower for QUB as Wiggler gonna try and meet Razor. I wasn't sure if they could see each other, but just a couple auto attacks being dropped as the Herald's actually gonna get the second charge off. Very interesting. As yeah, that action towards the bot side, a little bit messy. Again, TP from Madame Mars seemed to be a bit wasted, but then the re-engage happened from Spee, which I think was a mistake. I don't think he realized that the Lance would take him, as again, another mistake from Spee getting cut out.
Yeah, and it is Spee in the back, just getting locked up, and then we see the Chains of Corruption landing onto that Akshan. Lulu is still getting hit here by Varus, and they're throwing everything, but they just don't have the juice right now, and Platix will pick up another kill, going 4-1 on that Varus, and incredibly strong.
Spee trying to greed for the Raptors, and I think that was really well played by Platix, as the hook does go wide.
Gets one possibly here. It will actually go over to USSR Nina as they send the Evelyn to Brazil. We'll be able to clean that one up. Here comes Wiggler to clean up the rest as well, and that is 3 kills almost immediately, and they also don't get that mid tower, so big loss for TUD.
Very good flank by Kelko, who didn't really get himself much out of it, but it forced TUD into a very panic state. They spread out, they couldn't really organize, they were still very low on HP, and it meant that Wiggler and USSR Nemo were in perfect places to pick up the last of the kills. Kelko does end up going down for it, but with the Death Realm and the hookshot to chase from Wiggler, they were able to follow up, get the executes down, and pick up that extra bit of gold that kind of been lacking. As we see QB now, Spee gonna actually take that third Drake. I thought with the action and the closest that's happened over the past couple minutes that TUD would look to fight, but with the deaths they just weren't into position fast enough. So as I said, not a huge loss. Air Drake, it is third Drake, it is soul point, but I think TUD definitely looked to take that that soul point fight now as the game progresses, as Madamars should be well online. He won't quite be 16, which is again similar to Castan, a very similar breakpoint of strength, but he will be strong enough with the second item. He will have that Riftmaker as Razor.
Yeah, it doesn't quite land that one, but there's something does have to be said for Cloud Drake on the champions that are going to be using it. If they do pick it up on Twitch, it is exceptionally good for repositioning during those fights. We do see Spee going for that flash drag ult and doesn't quite land it. Can't keep them locked up, but right now the fight is going in the favor of the Twitch. He's rat-a-tat-tatting. He will be able to open up. Spee does pick up Razor, and that will be a second kill falling for Wiggler, and they have all the advantages they need right now. But I honestly do think that Cloud Soul for USSR Nina, Spee, Wiggler, and Kelko could be massive.
Yes, I didn't mean to understate that. It's by no means useless. I think the Drake, the specific Drake itself individually isn't too useful. The soul though, definitely somewhat useful. Otherwise, it would have some changes at this point in the game. There is some degree of use for it.
In its passive for Wiggler and Kelko with their stealth.
That's true. Yeah, there's.
I think this is really good Drake for them.
I think it's still the worst Drake in the game. It's just you'd be looking towards something else.
Chemtech is trash.
Depending on your comp, I think there's a good bit of.
Depending on your comp, it's like if you already have soul, you're usually winning the game. You don't need to increase damage when you're low if you're already winning.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was increased healing and shielding, but that's the individual Drakes themselves.
Individual Drakes. The soul itself is 10%, and you do bonus damage. That's, to be honest, it's awful.
Sorry, I just watched Mata troll Crims and not kill a creep and cancel his back. But yeah, I still think they're distinctly the worst too. I think everything else.
Bottom two, and then it comes down to flavor and what people like. But I do think Cloud is. If you have something like a Twitch, an Akshan, or something that uses movement speed So like Gragas using Phase Rush, Orianna if they use Phase Rush, stuff like that. If speed is something you are worried about in the slightest, Cloud Drake can just absolutely make you bonkers.
Yeah, but it's very much a luxury, as it looks like QUB just going to straight start this Baron, actually, as Kelko on that Twitch going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, they should be able to burst this with a nice combo, but we do see Akshan getting spotted out by that pink. Chain of Corruption does go out. They will have to use the Wild Growth here to save him, but it's actually saved, and it's into the combo. Look at the absolute terrifying comp that is Jarvan with anything that can do range damage. Kale does end up going to Brazil. Mordekaiser will be able to clean that one up shortly. The ult isn't even used by Madamars in there. Akshan able to clean up the rest of that. The Baron wasn't the objective, the fight was.
That's a really surprising play, actually. I think Madamars could have done something to save that. Playdex got Cataclysm, but Madamars himself wasn't in danger. I think it's crucial to keep Playdex alive there. He's so crucial for their poke and their consistent DPS, not only with the strength, but Varus as a champion, as the mere presence of Razor is going to force QUB off this Baron. So not looking to catch him out or find where he's hiding, but actually just going to start it and back off. But it's a really surprising call, I think, by Madamars, considering he did not end up using the Divine Judgment himself. But we saw now the strength the Mordekaiser has. He can take that Kayle into the 1v1, and he's in no worry of being killed himself. His tankiness, his consistent DPS, he could keep up even with the heals coming out, even with the speed from the Blessing on Kayle, thanks to the Rylai's. As soon as he gets one hit, he'll get the rest, as Kelko gonna do his best Evelynn impression and catching out Crims in that top lane.
Yeah, Crims has not been having the greatest games. Double stealth champions just seem to be the weakness here for the team. They're just getting obliterated by the fact they can't see them. I know Evelynn is also a stealth champion, but it hasn't been doing enough. And we do see Akshan. Look at that combo coming through, and how did that happen?
Just a catching out. Wiggler is so strong at the moment, and he's able to. It's the same range as Evelynn's stealth, so when one sees the other, it's just who's stronger. And in this case,
Evelynn's shorter.
Evelynn's is shorter.
Yeah, her spotting range is shorter. So you'll actually spot Akshan before. Oh, it's like tiny difference, but it does make a slight difference. Akshan is the worst stealth range in the game.
He gets bonus movement speed from it though, doesn't he? So it would actually be even it would even be like less impactful, the difference, because he'll be faster in and out. So he'll be able to. So like the range means even less. So it's like it's not technically the same, but effectively is the same in this case. So, and the difference is, another difference of course, is Evelynn. She needs that charm. She needs the what is it, 1.5 2-second build up, because that stun is crucial, especially coming up against that Akshan, who has the Wit's End, has the Merc Treads as that action happening mid lane.
Yeah, Kelko just be able to pick up a free kill there, but does end up falling to Raven in the end. But with this Baron and Wiggler being as strong as Wiggler is, it should be easy enough for them to be able to lock this one up, as Jarvan just goes for the Cataclysm straight onto the Thresh. Lulu is tanking this tower. Does need to be careful because there's an Evelynn on them, but the Flag and Drag locks up the Evelynn. Another kill going over, and Spee on this Jarvan is just taking over the game.
And no chance to talk is more action. Crims.
Oh. Delete it.
It's not even discussion. Crims had a very, I think, unimpactful mid game. He had a great start to the game, and then there was a lot of action bot he wasn't able to impact in. But now he's just on a different world. He was 13, 3, and 7 on this Akshan, and you see him just melting turrets. He's just such a threat, and as soon as everything quietens down, that's when he becomes truly lethal. Similar to the Evelynn, we talked a lot about last week when Razor was on it, that it forces you to change the way you play the game. You have to get certain control words, you have to change your vision patterns, as there could be a lot of action top and bot.
Yeah, as we do see Wiggler going to go through and use that rope and kind of set it to finish off that Kale, and Wiggler goes legendary here, and the hook does land onto Spee, but it is just a game falling out of the hands of TUD, and QUB have taken every advantage they need right now, and there's not much to be said. They have the soul, they have the Baron, it will be ticking off, but there really isn't much TUD can do to salvage this game right now. Even Akshan does manage to get stunned up on that Unravel Dart, does get locked up. The shutdown does come through, and it seems like Paddock seems to be picking up most of them, but here comes Spee into the absolute terrifying Cataclysm, which Ratatat straight onto that Thresh. Will be able to finish that one off. Razor knows that if they go in there, they will fall, so they will open up the first inhib of TUD's base.
They could look to get a lot more. 4 members down for the side of TUD, not looking strong. That's a combo we haven't seen a lot effectively, as Spee gonna flag and drag in, looking for the dive.
Yeah, and he does have the stopwatch there to help keep him alive, but does end up killing his ADC by swapping the aggro, but they do get another ace. They are onto the Nexus towers. Talia doing their very best to try and stop this in its tracks, but just doesn't have the power, and they do take both Nexus towers. They will step back. And no objectives to be taken for another little while as well, so they have all the time in the world to siege these sides.
This is super problematic for TUD. You have an open base against a Twitch and an Akshan who have been running rampant over the last 10 minutes, especially in this late game. What do? Do you just make a line of control words to try and spot them out? That's the only option they have. Otherwise, there's definitely a world where they lose that base to even just a double stealth in. The TP could potentially come in from Nima as well. And then you have the question mark of Soul for just a few minutes. So it's all worrisome from TUD, because they'll have to leave the base for this objective in a minute 40 seconds time. As they're going to try and catch Wiggler out now, and that's really their best option. They actually pop the plant. They don't know he's hanging around. But it may actually be the turntables, as Crim's... Oh no. Oh no, just interesting. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, all that's needed is that ult, and it is just too powerful coming from Wiggler there, and just takes out Crim's almost immediately. Also, the Void Staff rush is very interesting, but we do see Spee getting onto that Thresh, will eliminate that. Raven will opt for the flash over the wall, but nowhere really to go. That wall was not your friend. Now we do see Platix is locked up. Chains of Corruption has been landed, but he just doesn't have the spacing, doesn't have the support from his team, and they're just farming KDA right now in the enemy base. Trying to send him to Brazil, but they ult away and die. And yeah, they're on the fountain. Kale does manage to land a 4-man ult, but there will be no judgment here, as it is over for game 1, and QUB outstanding performance for game 1.
Great job by QUB to take game 1 in this best of 3 third place playoffs. As yes, the story of the game was great early game from QUB, a good comeback from TUD to find what we thought was maybe a lot of lost opportunities, and opportunities that we didn't think they would have, especially towards that bot side. But Wiggler and Spee eventually coming online. Even Kelko, who had a very, very poor start to the game, managing to... He got kills, but it was kind of more accidental than anything. It was a lot to do with Spee. But once that mid game happened, he was able to effectively stealth around the map alongside Wiggler, pick up a lot of kills, a lot of team fights, and if one of them didn't get the kills, the other was able to clean it up, and it was just snowballed out of control. QUB, very strong late game there, and again, we've seen a lot from them. Good team fighting, good kind of on the same page a lot of the times when they look to make plans and actions. We saw it especially towards that Herald, that early Rift Herald, where they sent 4 people up despite being ahead. They sent 4 people to the Drakes despite being ahead. While in some games that can punish them if action happens across the map, TUD did not have the answers to them, and it was very controlled by QUB, considering they lost. They probably expected to be ahead the whole game, but very well played by QUB nonetheless.
Yeah, we'll be cutting to a short break, and we'll break down some more as we get into the next draft, so please don't go anywhere. It's going to be great.
I'm sorry that I didn't hit you back when you call my line. Or did you even need to talk? Or you wasting time declining all your FaceTime calls? Cause you're not my vibe, but God just let me go to sleep. Someone get high with me. Yeah, cause I'm running away. I'm looking for space. Looking for space. I'm healing from all of the pain. I'm running away. Cause I feel lost right now, and it's hard to breathe. And I've lost myself. What happened to me?
Hello, welcome back, everyone. As you can see, my co-commentator is now actually all of the A-champs in League of Legends. No, Sader had to take an important phone call, so he will be back with us shortly, hopefully, as we are underway into picks and bans. As we are actually seeing the Gragas taken away. Yes, QUB on the red side this time. Spee, of course, having those great games on Gragas we saw earlier in the split. So not too surprised at that being taken away. The Draven, I'm not too sure if Playdex was a big Draven player, but... Or sorry, that's Kelko, right? Yeah, it's Kelko. So taking it away nonetheless. It's the standard bans, I think, from TUD oriented towards that jungle and top side. The main difference I'd like to see here is for TUD in particular, if they get Playdex ahead like they did last game, to put a bit more focus on him. We saw him paired with the Thresh as against the Jarvan, but we didn't see a lot of scenarios where the Thresh was able to get him out with the Lantern, as the Xayah actually picked by TUD, another champion that does get counterpicked by the Jarvan, because the Feather Storm does not get you out of the terrain. It can only escape the damage if you predict it in time. So I'm interested to see if QUB just are happy to take the Jarvan again, and it looks like they're going to do so. So we're gonna probably see ADC. I'd like to actually see something like the Varus answered by QUB, something to follow up with the Jarvan and threaten that poke. I think he's a really strong pick at the moment. A lot better than stuff like Zeri. I don't think Zeri's too great in this kind of tier of play. It's too volatile, and she does need a lot of time to ramp up. Much more suited towards pro play, in my opinion. Or the Jinx, who I think, again, doesn't take long to ramp up, but does, if she gets that reset, she can really start to take over these team fights. And we can see some interesting pairings. Milio, I think, is an interesting pairing with that Jinx. Gives her the extra range. It gives her like 700 range, level 1. So it can be very threatening with the poke. As we'll see, if TUD look to take something for the counter engage, either to threaten Jinx or protect the Jarvan. The Evelynn taken again. We didn't see the best of success with it from Razor in that last game. He wasn't able to really get snowballing early on and take over the game, and we saw him just kind of flustered and floundering for things to do. He just really was never able to get on the ADC of QUB, as that should dictate the support pick as well for QUB. As of course, yeah, the Rakan expected to be paired with the Xayah. Not too shocked by it. As the Kled actually going to get taken for USSR Nima on that top side. He had a very strong game in it the last time he was streamed. The worry they do have, of course, is that he was very much left on an island, and if Nativz can take something that can look to get aggressive, they actually take away the Jinx from TUD, so that's the immediate expectation I would see. As my co-caster is back. So we're talking about
some really important phone calls, buddy. More esports business for the future. Lots of important stuff. I actually have to talk to you after this. But
okay,
we do see my favorite pick, my third favorite pick, and my most hated jungler all on one side right now for QUB. I know Wiggler does drop into my stream, and I know he likes to annoy me with his picks, so this is all his doing. I know it is.
I really do like the Kled. I think SS Norm Nima, when he was last on stream, had a really strong game on it.
Yeah.
The issue we would look to have is that it's a bit more volatile, and Nativz could look to take advantage of that. And QUB actually predicting it really well by taking away the Jax. So they're expecting some kind of fightery actiony top lane. Cassante is probably the big one up, but I don't think Nativz is too familiar with that champ. We'll see if he does take it out. Oh yes, I predicted the Milio. I love this. So Milio Jinx level 1.
So no, I didn't hear any proof of that, so I'm not letting you have that one. Sorry.
It's disgusting because you get like 700 range at level 1 with the rocket. It's so threatening. You can get so much poke early on just by Milio shielding you twice, and you can just rocket twice. The splash damage, the tick damage from the passive, it's all very threatening. As the other fighter that I didn't say, but I expected the type of champion, Camille, coming out for Madamars in that top side.
Yeah, Camille, I think it's a great pick into Kled. It really does eliminate some of the things Kled can do. It does really limit Kled in those lanes, so I'm enjoying that one so far. The Rakan Zaya, great pickup. Razor back onto the Evelyn. I'm surprised they're continuing to let it through. Maybe they feel like they have the answers and it's just they're able to bait it out constantly and work around that. It's something that I have spoken about in the past about certain jungle playstyles of certain champions can be then kind of dismembered and stopped in its tracks and just playing very safe warding patterns like the SKTs of the early stages. But a Rise pickup is terrifying, to be honest.
Yes, again, Rises can be very interesting as the final pick actually being the Sylas. So I'll try and talk about all these kind of picks together and how they fit in. But the Sylas, of course, first thing you have to look at is the ults from the opposition. People really like the quickness from the Rakan. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I don't think it's too impactful an ult. I really prefer big damage ones. I don't think Sylas can get... The quickness is all about hitting multiple opponents. I really don't think Sylas excels at that unless it's everyone's clumped up. In which case, would you probably want something... Sorry?
You have gap close with Sylas to do with the quickness.
But the Abscond Abduct is a very low cooldown, and you want to be using that on your focus target, who you're trying to burst down.
But if you get the heal, gap close with the quickness, you get the charm.
It's useful. I just don't. I think it's rated as like one of the S tier abilities.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I think it's absolutely garbage. But I'm just playing devil's advocate because some people do like playing Sylas into Rakans.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to poke your brain a little bit and annoy you with terrible arguments.
It's like a B tier in my opinion because it's good CC and like the charm is nice, but it doesn't do a ton of damage. And I think when it comes to abilities to steal, stuff like the Feather Storm or even the Execute from Evelyn can be a bit more threatening. And of course the Realm Warp from Rise, you can look to match his teleports. That's a crucial one and probably why the Sylas ended up getting taken here. But I think one thing
There's
I really
also a
like...
lot of low range now that I think about it.
That is true. Sorry? For Sylas, you mean?
Yeah, if he does steal the quickness, everything's kind of melee or 400, 500 range. So he can actually make use of it in fights. I know more than likely he'll be aiming for the likes of Zaya, Evelyn, and Camille ults. That they would be the best. But if he does end up taking a quickness, Camille has to go melee. Evelyn has to go melee. Zaya doesn't have the longest range of all ADCs. So, and Rakan also has to come into him to be effective. So there is an opportunity there to kind of do something. Yeah,
I agree. I think they are short range. The thing I think that won't why it's not too useful is TUD will actually be looking, in my opinion, to go in themselves. I think where Rakan, Camille, Evelyn will look to be quite aggressive. Jinx doesn't have a crazy amount of safety here.
You don't need safety. You need Jarvan to land an ult onto someone that doesn't have flash, kill that thing and reset.
Yeah, the issue though is TUD. They have means to escape. There isn't like the Varus who requires the Thresh Lantern or needs flash to get out. It's like she can't escape the Cataclysm, as I said earlier, but what she can do is buy time. And that's enough. Because Camille, Rakan, Evelyn is going to be a very scary burst combo. And notably, hopefully this time around, TUD Rise in that mid lane. Crims, that's it. I was trying to remember the player name, has a better time of it because one of the big things last game was Crims was just not a threat. Madamars took too long on that KL to get online. So the only real threat from TUD last game was Playdex on that Varus. This time, they have a lot more damage all around. Camille should have a lot more impact early on than that KL, or at least towards the mid game, once she gets the couple levels in. It'll be very interesting topside, but I think early game, it does definitely go in the favor of QUB. Jarvan is going to have a strong presence, similar to last game. This jungle matchup, I think, is very Jarvan favored, despite TUD picking the Evelyn into it. It's all about just doing what he did the last game, getting control, This is why he should be one of my favorite. I think one of my top junglers of the tournament. He just had so much impact in every game we've seen him, and this is what he's looking to do again. It's a great pickup for him for that early game.
Yeah, I do think it's a good pickup. I do agree. Razor has been one of my favorite junglers of it just because of his aggressive style and the fact he can play so many different characters and he draws so many bans. But we will be cutting to a very short break before we get into this game, so don't go anywhere. It's going to be a great game too.
particle beam weapons.
And we are on to the rift for game 2 between QUB and TUD. QUB currently do have the lead after an absolutely amazing performance in game 1. So more than excited to see what they're going to do now for game 2 with some more bog standard picks. Milio and Kled, obviously, there has to be some questions raised about those, and Senelot will be breaking those down. But for the moment, we do have Wiggler. Does manage to find a little bit of damage on the Crims in that mid lane. Doesn't have Dark Harvest though, so nothing too spicy from that Silas.
Yeah, just a bit of trading blows. As this is very strange. The 5-man the 5-man point lineup to protect from invades. It's turned into this weird skirmish. It does mean QUB get that ward towards the blue buff of Razor, so they're going to be able to spot him out. We saw a lot of level 1 shenanigans from both sides, like weird shenanigans, but TUD not going to repeat what they did the last game, take away that buff. As it looks to be standard starts from both junglers, going to be both starting red side and going to be kind of cross-splitting the map a little bit. Spee gonna probably look for an early gank, I think. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold. He might look towards that mid lane. Wiggler can look to do some form of setup, especially with the Abscond Abduct to get that CC in early. Crims, of course, Rise with that level 2. Probably one of the most threatening level 2s of any champion in the game, strangely, considering you think of Rise, you think of scaling, with the spell flux into the Rune Prison, being rooted at level 2.
You have not seen a Talon, my friend.
That's true. Not for a long time. I don't know when the last time I saw a Talon was.
Carey plays it for me, one of the lads, and every single time he plays it, it's just like, you go into lane, oh cool, we got first wave, playing ADC, having a good time, and Talon got first blood. It's every single game. Oh, close. Spee already on that aggressive stance straight into that mid lane, and we do have to talk a little bit about the fact that Wiggler hasn't really been hitting his CS so far.
Yeah. But the wave is crashing into him. He didn't manage to match it, so a little bit of a CS deficit. I think we saw something similar last game, but reversed. Crims was the one falling back a little bit. We saw a lot of CS discrepancies, I think, across the board.
Spee, no, this is too close. This is too close of a fight. It is going 1-for-1, and it does go for Spee in the end, but traded back almost immediately by Madame Mars. We now see Wiggler not in the greatest positions here. Does proc his Conqueror. Kled is in the area, and we do see the flash forward from the Kled. He will get dismounted. He will be in trouble here, trying to get Scarlet back, and he's one auto away. He does manage to get it, and don't you just love Kled as a champion?
Yeah, that was actually the remount was crucial. I thought that was so in the favor of TUD. I thought Madame Mars, never mind, it looks like it is, because of that crucial red buff. He is able to pick it up. Just again, this is greed. USS Nima. I don't, especially after that kill pickup, he had no business just walking back to lane. He needed to just go to the mid lane, back. He has the wave crashing into him. He has the TP. It was just unnecessary to give over that kill to Madame Mars, who has red buff, has the sheen now, is going to be very dangerous in this Camille. Once he reaches level 4 in particular, that's when it starts to really tick up with the damage, the true damage. He can afford to take these trades more aggressively. But a lot of action towards the mid. I'm not really sure how it all kind of started as Helco.
That was very, very aggressive, using that ghost aggressively, getting the traps down in a great position as well. I do love seeing Jinx throw it behind characters, so they have that option of, I have to either walk through it, flash over it, or go around it. It just shows a higher level of Jinx play, and I really do enjoy it. But taking the ghost in this matchup, Cleanse might have been really good.
Sorry, just responding to a
Take
quick
your
message.
time. I'll get some vapor rub and I'll rub it on you. Don't worry, you'll be fine.
As we do go forward, the cleanse, yeah, it would have been interesting. I think the ghost isn't by any means terrible, but it's kind of a up to the ADC kind of situation. There's no, what are you cleansing? But maybe the stun, or sorry, the
quickness, the knock
charm,
up, the root from Crims, Razor's charm.
If you're charming the root from Rise, I think there's other issues. I'm
just saying, Cleanse would have been the option for me here. Ghost does have its values, but with Milio speed, Shirelia's plus resets, I don't think it's too big.
I think Exhaust wouldn't be terrible, and then maybe the heal from Milio. I think that would probably be my preferred one.
I think the Ghost is just very low down on what I expected to see from Calco.
Yeah, it's very much a team fight. He's going to be the late game and like take over the team fight, similar to the Twitch is going to find Razor.
Does get the knock up as well, but won't be able to finish this one off. The charm should come true, but he does have Wiggler on the side, and it will just go to Razor there. A bit over aggressive. USR Nima. Q needs to go through, but not quite. A little bit more time, and he might have had that one, but it is another kill over to that top side. 2 overall in the space of less than 30 seconds, and Wiggler is opting into this fight. Does have Saber Ethan in the area. No flash on Crims. They do manage to pick up a kill, so it's working.
Crim's getting Wiggler very low there, but the healing from both himself and with the assistance from Saber Ethan, unfortunately. That's where the danger comes in. It can look like you're winning those fights against the Stylus, but the healing can just come out of nowhere with that Kingslayer, as he can heal quite a bit. We do look at the gold amounts. Advantage for Playdex towards that ADC position as expected with the CS advantage. And of course that kill for Wiggler going to get him that advantage in the mid lane. As the main deficit, of course, being USS Nima versus Madamars with those 3 kills, 700 gold. It's very dangerous to let a Camille get ahead. She can just snowball these lanes and can be just consistently killing the opposing top laner. She doesn't have a huge reliance on summoner spells. If she does get ahead, as soon as the ultimate is available, she can just look to get these knockdowns. And as long as Mada plays it very like controlled and calculates, or at least tries to play around the remount from USS Nima. The big thing, of course, I'm trying to remember what the name of the ability is, but to play around Kled's W, his passive, is the auto attack one, because that's the big one that procs the Crims could be in danger.
Does have the flash and does use it immediately to escape from that one, so great little, I guess, just responsible thinking there to think someone might be there and have that flash ready to go and on the right key. So he does escape from that one, does lose his flash, and with that Rift Herald being started by Spee will have to flash it over this wall, will have to try and escape from this one. The ult comes through, Spee will not survive this one. Razor is in the area, but USR Nima opts into this fight. He wants to go for this one. The execute does come out and will have to disengage. Wiggler will have to go big here to try to get Nima remounted. Won't be able to finish off the kill either. He doesn't get to finish that one off. Does opt in for the Camille ult. Will go unstoppable, but will be stopped in his tracks, and big swing in favor of TUD.
That's could be a preview of what is to come. That's what we talked about in the early game as Reverend or Raven.
Yeah, and not really much is going to be happening from that one unless Calco decides to go full throttle forward, and he is opting in for it. The cleanse comes through, does get rid of that root. They will continue on this fight, but with the ult available for Pladix, they have to be careful here. The re-engage, Raven does go in, gets the knock up. There comes the root, and Calco does fall. Saber Ethan uses the ignite, a bit overzealous, one might say, as he is in this alcove getting feathered down, and it will be taken actually. Raven just going to punch him to death there, not give that one over.
Not sure what the idea was there from QUB's bot lane to go back in there. They're a poke kind of oriented bot lane, as Wiggler could look to pick these up.
Yeah, he's going to get rooted there and will get locked up. The rocket comes through as well, so this could open up more for the Jinx as well, getting those assists if Raven does fall within the time period. First kill goes over to Wiggler for free. Spee will clean up on the back and double kill, and the assist as well for Jinx, so some goal there. But Nima on the other side eliminated by Razor.
Yes, it's a fairly easy counterplay there by Razor to pick up the action on that top side, but a good answer by Spee and Wiggler to punish Playdex and Raven for overstaying towards that bot side. Again, the original fight, I'm not
going to look for this one. The traps have set it up, and Spee will finish it off. Cataclysm, Crims knows this is death, and Calco getting their first kill, and Jinx starting to get activated.
Crims again getting punished for overstaying, a repeat of last game as...
Ooh, nice little sidestep. He's going to opt into this fight, not knowing Razor is in the tri-bush. Nima going to be in trouble here, does get that up in that Hextech ultimatum, will step back. Razor does have the execute, put him down to absolutely nothing. Malamars will finish that one off, and Nima, he's not happy about that. There's SS pings coming from the team as well. They're not happy about it.
There was a lot of back-to-back action happening. Kills are picked up across the board from both teams, but just aggressiveness, I think, from QUB that does get punished Crims, meanwhile, on the mid lane, just over pushing, overstaying, trying to get that wave crashed in. And we saw it similar to last game, Spee looking for those punishes on that Jarvan. As soon as he's sniffing around mid lane, he can look towards that action on Crims. And again, backed up by Saber Ethan. We saw, again, similar to last game, Saber Ethan and Spee backing each other up to look for these plays. But Kelko and Saber Ethan in that action bot side, I think they had a misunderstanding of what the lane is meant to do. They're meant to be looking for this poke, this boosted kind of range with the almost Sheen procs that, or sorry, more like Scorch procs that Milio can give towards that Jinx with the passive as soon as he heals or shields her. So, and they're looking to try and chunk out Playdex and Raven, but instead we saw a fairly aggressive, even ultimate from Saber Ethan on that Milio, and it was turned around by Playtix and Raven. The only reason QUB managed to get out with that is Spee and Wiggler getting the roam down. So Kelko and Saber Ethan just need to play a little bit more conserved and look for this late game when they're a lot stronger, as USS or Nima taking a big chunk of damage.
Yeah, absolutely getting chunked out there. As you see, another engaged. Spee does manage to get the knock-up, but rooted as well on those Jinx traps. The rocket comes through. Calco cleans it. USR or Nima in that top side is just getting eviscerated by Razor time and time again, and there's not really much respect being shown on that top side.
Unfortunately, it's just a bit problematic for USS or Nima to play this game. This is what we talked about, the Camille Evelyn combo, as Madam
is in this bot side, does land it onto Saber Ethan, won't be able to cleanse away from that one and will get taken out. Pladix will pick up that kill, and it's starting to all fall down now.
Madam Myers had made his presence known on the map.
Wiggler
TPing bot lane.
Oh, he does actually land it, but not on the target, and does go in for that, but it's just a quick trade, nothing too spicy.
Could get spiciness in a minute. Madam Myers and Spee are both here. Spee is backing.
Yeah, and that is a very quick knock-up and CC, but Wiggler trying to turn this one around, doesn't quite get it, tries to get that flash away, but can't quite escape Spee now, being charmed up. The knock comes through. USSR Nima is also there, as we do cut to this bot lane really quickly. Kelko under the tower does fall to Playdex, and mid lane, nothing actually happened in the end. They just managed to save their jungler.
Saber Ethan was roaming towards the mid side, looking, I think, expecting a lot more action towards the mid, as Madam Mary's just going to repeat gank, just going to walk over the wall, hook shot back in. But Kelko getting punished for his support, trying to help out his mid jungle. Finally, good play by Paydex and Raven. This is something we've seen repeated by Saber Ethan, where he's looking for these roams, he's trying to help the rest of the team, and they're punishing Kelko for it. But it looked to be a big fight coming out in that mid lane, but once once Razor and USSR Nima made their presence known, neither team really wanted to take the action. They just were a bit afraid of it, as we do hit a bit of a lull point, I think, considering all the action we've been seeing. But things to note is 2 Drakes for the side of QUB, and they're going to look to pick up their third in 70 seconds, despite being down about 5.5k gold, as both teams have kind of, I think with all the action, they're just looking to try and farm back up. But a lot of that gold right now for TUD is in the hands of their top and jungle, and they need to look to take a lot of picks going forward. We've seen them repeated on USSR Nima time and time again, but notably they want to start trying to chunk out Wiggler and Spee, but that's going to be a little problematic. We've seen Wiggler heal a lot of these damages, as we look to see more action now.
Yeah, Crims is going to get the poke on, but there's not too much to be said right now. They are in this like weird lulls kind of spot in the game where there's not much to really go for, with the Drake starting to come up soon. The flag and drag does go through. There goes the feathers as well, as we do see Razor on the backside. Kelko survived for very long, but does end up falling down, and Saber Ethan will also fall. Double kill now for Razor, moving towards that Drake area. A little bit of time before it is up, but once it spawns, it is easily TUD's.
Yeah, TUD finally gonna get that Drake, as we see kind of a counter from QUB there, where TUD this time very much on the same page. It's very much looking for this team action. As I was kind of confused for a sec, it is saying Air Drake in the top left, but of course it is Hex Tech. I didn't even think to look at the map, see the Hextech gates that were on it already. So it is Hextech Soul for
It's like
the
your one
remainder
job
of
as a color.
to be lied to by the preview, which for some reason Hextech has been in this game. The Hextech game has been in this game for like 2 years. How has this not been updated that we have a logo yet? I understand Chemtech because it got deleted and reintroduced, but Hextech is a confusing one to me. But nonetheless, we do see TUD pick up their first streak of the game after that action on bot lane. And again, Speed, we've seen him repeat that kind of gank multiple times now, where Playdex and Raven looking for action as Calco. Okay.
Yeah, nothing you can do there as Calco. It is just going to be that Evelyn cleaning that one up. They are going to try and hunt down the Evelyn here. USSR Nima did TP down for that one, which does give Crims a lot of free time on the top side if Wiggler chooses to stay in this mid lane. Right now we do see Saber Ethan getting hunted by Razor. The flash comes through, the charm does land. We do get the knock-up, but the execute will not be enough. Does get Razor out of dodge though and out of range of that tower, and it looked good, but it wasn't the cleanest from TUD. There is still there's some more work to be done on those plays.
I don't think TUD were quite expecting a fight as the inner turret does get taken. We see Razor backing up Crims, but US or Nima not looking for these fights. And something we didn't talk about is the potential split push from TUD. They have a very potent 1-3-1, or in this case, it should be 1-2-1. I think this is a comp we've seen them play before with the Ryze and the Camille, threatening side lanes that the Evelyn can take massive advantage of. If QUB misallocate their players, misallocate where the lane assignments need to be and who needs to go where, they can end up getting caught out by this Evelyn, who will just be lurking in the jungle, and it's a much more favorable position from last time. We saw this was very reminiscent of last week of the semi-finals when TUD took on their A-team counterparts and just had a miserable time.
A great flank and a great ult coming in from Speed. When Super Mega Death Rocket doesn't land where they need it to, and it's just not enough right now. Madame Mars does get onto the backside, does get onto Calco. Calco should fall here to the power of those scissor legs as Wiggler does get the execute from the Evelyn, gets rid of 2. Speed thinking they might be able to re-engage on this one. USSR Nima is now in the area. You could see a flash coming through. The bear rope trap does land on the Crims, but it will be a disengage. No, never mind. Speed goes for it again. Wiggler goes in as well. It is the execute returned onto the other side. Razor manages to pick that one up. Nima nearly remounts. That could have changed the game, but a triple kill for Madame Mars will seal the deal for that ace.
That was just back and forth, as about as crazy as you could ask, as we saw a great initial engage from Speed, but this is what we've been talking about. We've noticed it 2 or 3 times. Playdex, even without the flash, thanks to the support Rakan as well, can buy time. The CC chain was not there for QUB. Speed, with the Flag and Red Cataclysm, locking down Playdex, but they just didn't have the burst to get him down. Featherstorm with the knock up, the Grand Charge from the Rakan, they can buy just enough time for the rest of the team to get in position. They can look for that counter fight. They were able to turn it around pretty well. Initially it was 2 for 1 in the favor of QB as well, because Wiggler picked up 2 great kills nonetheless on towards that bot side later on in the action. But then again, an over chase from QUB, complete underestimation of the damage, I think, from the Evelyn and the Camille, who were just able to overtake that fight. Commander Mars just had an absolute time cleaning up that fight, pocketed a lot more gold, as we are going to try and look towards the items now, as Madame Mars with the Divine Sunder and the Ravenous Hydra 10-0-6 on this Camille. 8-1-8 Evelyn, 25 Soul Stealer stacks, 3 items. This is a very dangerous top side for the side of TUD, but even with that advantage, they still had a surprisingly close fight in that mid lane.
Yeah, and we do see a top starting in this kind of weird fight where I don't think Wiggler has the damage needed to ever take down the Ryze, but does in fact have 9 stacks on that Roa, so will be getting towards that 10, will be going up that level pretty soon. Razor now in a spot of trouble here, has used the execute already, is trapped in the pit. That is a reset for the Jinx. This is their fight. This is what they wanted. You see Matamars getting onto that backside. There is a trouble for Kelko now. He won't be able to escape from that one as they do clean it up. Wiggler not having the damage to take anyone out right now, will get knocked back, will get focused here. Conqueror Procton does manage to get out over that wall, but the Rise ult will have something to say about that. Camille, there's no walls there, bud.
That cannon is not a wall. Just trying to hook shot through the creeps. But that's a very good fight from Playtix. I think being the unsung hero there. Had a great Featherstorm. Actually used the flash aggressively, which is not something I expected in a game where this Jarvan, Kled, and Silas do exist. But got so many feathers out, flashed over the wall towards the blue buff, then got the recall off, the blade caller off to recall the feathers. Did so much damage, picked up the double kill as well, as we do see Playtix now finally coming online, backing up the strength that his top and jungle have shown so far. As it's a good team fight win for TUD, taking their second Hex Drake of the game. And I think all eyes on now will be on Baron. It's 2 Drakes apiece, so Soul still a little ways off. It's going to be well over that 30-minute mark, which crucially I think both ADCs going to maybe look to have that third item hopefully finish. But Kelko, interestingly, you said he didn't take that cleanse, you pointed that out earlier, going to opt for the QSS. So seeing the error of his ways, I think, this time around, as he's not had the best of times this game thanks to the Rakan Xayah combo. And it's really on Wiggler to try and keep these fights alive alongside that jungler, alongside Spee with the great engages he's had so far in the game.
Yeah, and I'm just taking stock of everything that's going on, looking at these gold totals as well and the changes that we're seeing there. And I don't know, there is still hope for them to be able to get something going, but with those mounting goal leads, 2k in that bot side, and it's Kelko versus Playtix, I think, to help carry the game, and Matamars getting onto that backside. USSR Nima does not have any stake in this game right now, does not even have his second completed item, doesn't have a mythic item yet, is severely lacking in money. So where do you see the biggest avenue of success for them going forward now that Razor, Matamars and Playtix are pretty much just about full build?
I think their probably strongest point here will just be Milio and Jinx, if they can get them online. Jinx, she's just so far away from the build she wants to be, that QSS delaying it so much, as unfortunately USS Nima and Matamars trading once again.
I wouldn't really call it a trade when it's so one-sided, because those true shots just come true, and it's a Cho'Gath ulti on an 8-second cooldown. Not even 8 seconds, like 4 seconds.
Yeah, just being able to reset it proc with the Divine Sunder, it's just such a scary ability. Death Dance as well, finish, is going to have so much armor as Stolen Quickness.
Does manage to get onto Razor, the execute will come out and they will escape from that one. And it was looking hot, but just the damage wasn't there to follow. Matamars will use that TP to get to this fight and put some pressure onto the remaining members of QUB. USSR Nima does have TP. It will start up this Baron. This is a do or die moment here for Spee.
The Hextech ultimatum isn't available, as is neither is the quickness or the caress from Razor. So a lot of ultimates down from TUD, so I don't think they'll really look for this Baron. They can't really afford to take the fight if it does break out into one, and they are sitting on vision. So QUB gonna know that they're looking for these picks, gonna respect the fact where TUD can be sitting in their jungle. They've given up that red buff for dead. I think they still kind of know there. Spee should check this with the standard with that flag.
Just the back, but not the front. So they have to be
the only bush they know he can be. Oh no!
Does manage to buffer that knockup and does manage to get out. Crim's now slightly out of position, does have the flash, it will be used. The red buff will be taken here as well, but Wiggler and Spee, they have something to say about that, and they will try to posture forward, but do get eliminated from that one. Raven now low and in the back, but can still be a threat to deal with. USSR Nima is still pushing here, only one TP available and it's on Crims, but Matamars wants to end this right now, is going to opt into this fight. The quickness comes through. Spee is Charmed, locked, and will actually get a kill onto Raven. The Ghost coming through, the shutdown's coming through. Jinx is online, the execute doesn't finish off Wiggler. The rockets are just powering on through Madame Mars right now. Wiggler is going to try and set this one up for another one for the Jinx. The rockets are hitting, so does the Zap. That is a massive, massive turn for the team of QUB as Razor, invisible, does get spotted on that sweeper, so they know that Razor is still in the area, but Jinx online.
That's exactly what QUB needed to get back into this game. Exactly what I said. The Jinx was the win
USF
condition.
buy.
What did he buy?
Oh no, it's just that like Calco had QSS for that fight, and it actually made the difference. And it's like you could have just had cleanse.
Oh, I thought you said USSR, not QSSS. That's an understandable confusion, I think.